Hey there, it's Lacey J, here to ask you to go to spacebearmedia.com right now to access all our content, buy yourself some merch, and most importantly, send us a message, a question, fan mail, even hate mail. We'll respond on YouTube. Also, please remember to rate and review the podcast on your favorite app or share it with someone you know who loves Lost. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Lost in My 40s, Season 4, Episode 10. It's called Something Nice Back Home. It's a Jack episode, and welcome back, Dave. It's a Dave episode. Yay!
Man, you guys cannot get rid of me this season. Hanging around like a bad smell.
You know what? I really couldn't get enough of that Jack impression from Eggtown. So,
oh man, there's gonna be. I'll do my best today.
Yes, back with a whole episode. How's everybody else doing?
Good,
awesome.
Great.
Yay! All right, and shout out to Ada. We tried to have him join us today, but apparently he lives in bumfuck France with an internet connection that wouldn't work for us. So. I didn't know there was a bumfuck France.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's like wine.
There's a
stuff,
bumfuck
but
everywhere.
I guess so. I think a bumfuck USA.
Except for maybe Hong Kong or something like that. But
Should we get the exact French translation of bumfuck? Hold on, I'm going to look it up live on the air here.
Le bumfuck.
Fouche derrière. Derrière fouche.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, that's an educated guess. Hold on.
Yeah.
French. Let's see. Bear with me here. English.
We're bearing.
Fuck. I'm going to do all one word first. Connard. And if I
Connard?
Putain de cool.
Oh, okay.
Putain de cool.
There you go.
That's it. He's in Putain de cool.
That's where he lives. Yeah.
All right. Ben, you got to update us on our power rankings after the first 9 episodes. Dave hasn't heard these since The Constant, so get ready. Where are we at, Ben?
So we'll start from the bottom of the bottom, or third from the bottom, where we have Dr. Harper and Dr. Ray tied for negative 24 points. Miles still holding in second with negative 25 points, and Kimi plummeting into the nether regions of hell with negative 105 points.
Right where he belongs.
I'd be interested to see if Miles moves after the end of this episode, because he's got some moments in this one.
I thought so.
Yeah, he does have some moments. Ooh, who's on the top?
On the top, in third place, we've got Juliet with 45 points. Hurley with 54. They jockeyed positions. He went from third to second. She dropped from second to third. And we've got Ben Linus in first place with 59 points.
All right.
He's not going to do much in this episode since he's like not in it. But Ben Linus, Hurley, and Juliet have all been jockeying at the top, as well as I think Dan Faraday and Desmond have made appearances, but it's been mostly those three near the top.
Yeah, Lapidus was up there for a hot minute at the beginning of the season, but
it's true. He's not in enough episodes.
Lapidus?
Lapidus.
Yeah.
I was here for that. I get that reference.
Yeah.
That's what it is, according to Dave. All right. Dave, you ready to bust out that Jack?
Should we crack on?
I think so.
All right, we're covering season 4, episode 10, Something Nice Back Home. So the episode opens on day 89 with Jack asleep in his tent, and Juliet is trying to wake him with some urgency. Bernard and Rose can be heard yelling at Faraday about the satellite phone. Daniel's telling them there's no longer a signal, but they aren't buying it. Charlotte says, "How are we supposed to know why they're not answering?" And Rose snaps back, "Oh, who's talking to you?"
Burn.
I like how sassy Rose is to Charlotte. She's not having it at all.
Charlotte points out they aren't on the boat, so they can't know why nobody's answering. And Rose says, "Watch your tone, Red." And she really, really puts some stank on it. Really puts some stank on Red. I would love to do it, but it feels problematic for me to impersonate that.
Watch Jack your tone, Red. That was terrible. No, cut that.
No.
just sounded Southern.
Uh-huh.
Jack makes it over to the argument and asks them to calm down. Bernard claims the Fredo duo are lying, and Jack says, "You ready?"
I'm ready.
I'm getting stage fright now. I know they're lying. I know it. Sooner or later, their people are going to come back for them, and when they do, we'll be waiting for them. It's going to be a long episode, folks. Strap in. Strap the fuck in. But Jack doesn't look so good, and Rose questions whether he's all right. Jack says, "No, I'm fine. We just have to be patient, okay? I've gotten us this far." I can't read out every Jack quote like this. We're never going to get out of here today. We're never going to get out of here.
It'd be like 45 minutes of our laughter.
Mm-hmm. We could do a supercut. It'll be fun. I said I was going to get us off the island, all of us. I promised that I would. Just then he doubles over in pain and falls to the ground, breathing erratically. Rose, Bernard, and Juliet are all standing over him, calling his name.
Jack!
Mm-hmm.
Which brings us to flash forward number 1. Jack is lying in bed with his eyes open while birds are chirping outside. Dig this, like, just absolute basic upper middle class, mid-aughts decor in this house.
Oh, yeah.
It's so bland.
Yes.
The phone
I
is
was
ringing.
actually shocked there wasn't like a live, laugh, love on the wall.
honest to
That's,
God.
that's the decor that
like,
they had.
The set designers were fucking out by 5 that day. I'll tell you. The phone is ringing, and it takes Jack a bit to realize it. When he finally answers the phone, a woman's voice is on the other end to confirm Jack's 11 a.m. appointment. Jack confirms he'll be there and hangs up. He gets up, wraps a towel around his waist, showing off what I would call his creeping dad bod. which is like, don't get me wrong, he looks good, but it's like creeping dad bod. It's nice, sort of modest ripped. And he notices a pair of, oh man, Lacey, why'd you write this word into the script? So this word that I have to say it does not sound good coming out of an Irish accent, and so we don't use it. We would say knickers.
You can't say the word panties?
Listen to this is just how uncomfortable this sounds, right?
Okay.
Panties. I hate it. So you gotta go like panties, right? That's how you say it properly. You have to, but it's just panties. It just
No, that's how
doesn't work.
Jack says it properly.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
I like knickers.
Yeah.
That's a good word.
So he notices a pair of knickers on the ground. He picks them up, puts them in the hamper. He then goes downstairs to the kitchen, stubbing his toe on a toy lying on the ground. Jack channels his inner Sawyer for a second and drops a son of a bitch. Should point out that the toy is I was going to say a Death Star. Shame on me. A Millennium Falcon.
Oh, was it?
One of
I didn't even notice
many Star Wars references.
She'll make 0.5 past
Yeah.
light speed, kid.
Yeah, damn right. He puts wine glasses from the previous night into the sink and makes coffee. Picking up a copy of the day's paper, he sees the sports page headline, Yankees bludgeon Red Sox in series sweep. Jack mumbles about A-Rod. I swear to God, he's this close to going like fucking A-Rod.
Yeah, seriously.
Does anyone know the series that's referring to? I know nothing about baseball, but I'm guessing that's like 2007. They got
It must
wiped.
be. Yeah.
Well, and the Yankees and the Red Sox are like...
Yeah, like historic rivalry.
Legendary.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
and then
actually,
he
we
puts
talk about that in an episode. Remember? I think it was the fun facts in the season 2 opener, maybe, where we talked about the curse of the Bambino. That's
Yep.
where the hatred
that's right.
comes from.
Fun fact, the Orioles are kicking everybody's ass this year.
Yeah, man, they're having a good
Are they?
season.
Oh, I didn't even know
They
that.
are the first team in Major League Baseball history to ever beat every single other team
Wow.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
in a season.
Yeah.
It's the first season with the new rules as well, right?
Yes, much faster.
All the
Pitch clock.
haters will say it's because of the new rules, but
Yeah.
we know.
Yeah, there were people hated it when they changed like the hockey rules, which has happened more than once, like to make the game faster.
I have to
and people
admit,
complain,
it does make the game marginally less boring to watch.
I know
It
Ben and I
shaves
hate
almost
baseball.
an hour off of some of the games.
Yeah. Fucking Quidditch ass rules for that game. Like, they go on forever.
Yeah,
Christy's
right.
a big fan. I mean, I historically, supported the Orioles because I grew up around there too, and my dad really liked him. But Ben and I are neither one of us are baseball fans. We
I can
can't
always imagine
sit
if there
through
was a
it.
team that I really liked for whatever reason that I would get into, I would probably enjoy the sport, but I've never really cared about any of the teams. So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard for me to care.
I love it, and I actually do think it's rather exciting to watch. The problem is that the Orioles signed a deal with MASN, which is Mid-Atlantic Sports Network, and unless you have cable, you can't fucking watch it.
Oh, they blacked the
Thing with the
games out?
Rangers here.
Yep. So
Jesus Christ.
even if I were to get the MLB package, I wouldn't be able to watch it unless I had like a VPN as well. It's bullshit.
Those
And
bastards.
I got rid of cable years ago because it's just not worth it.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
shit.
only
who
reason
the
why
hell
we
has
had it.
cable? Boomers.
Huh?
I said, who
Yeah.
has cable?
Yeah.
And then I said, boomers.
Yep.
Like, no, I mean, honestly, it's ridiculous. But, oh, you know what, Christy? We finally got Apple TV.
Oh,
and
cool.
yeah, we're in episode like 3 or 4 of season 3 of Ted Lasso.
When
Been
you're done
loving
with
it.
that, you should check out Shrinking.
Shrinking? Okay. We're
Yeah,
also
it's
watching
awesome.
What happens when you get in cold water?
Yeah, exactly.
I was in
Shrinkage.
the pool.
We watched Silo, which is like
Yeah.
yeah. Have you
I
seen
like
that?
Silo.
I
I
love it. Love it.
We're
Really?
we're
Love
still
it.
watching it.
Okay. I think Silo is a bad show that thinks it's a good show. And
No, I
it's
love
it's entertaining. Like I enjoyed it, but I don't actually I don't know. I have reservations. It gets better as it goes along though.
You think
It's got,
apparently
it's got Rebecca Ferguson. I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah, right. But it's I guess it's based on a trilogy of books, and it's going to
Yeah,
be
I'm
like
reading the
3
book right now.
seasons. Are you? It's a book better.
Yeah, I was too curious. No, the book is very rushed. Like they
Interesting.
draw out the story a lot more in the TV show, which is usually not the way it goes.
Right. You would think it would be the other way around.
Yeah.
Interesting. You said you're watching that now, Christy, but you're not all the way through it.
Yeah, so don't have any
I
spoilers.
won't.
please.
No, I
No
loved it.
spoilers.
I thought the ending was great, and I think like the last moments of the season are perfect. We're also watching Foundation on Apple TV. Have you found that one? It's another sci-fi. Pretty good.
Nah,
haven't started
I
that
think
one yet.
it's okay.
I liked Silo better. I think it's
I like
good. And
Silo
it has Lee Pace, who was Thwandril in the Hobbit movies, and you get to see his body a lot. It's very nice. Maybe that's why I like it better than Ben.
Yeah, he's pretty
Anywho.
hot. I mean,
Yeah, he's pretty hot. All right.
All right,
I don't know where we were.
pull us off
this
this
train
tangent.
is- train is
Seriously.
way
Yeah.
off the tracks.
We can
by the
maybe-
way, you know what I had for breakfast this morning? Christ.
Okay.
Maybe cut out some of that free Apple TV promotion that we did.
The Yankees fudging the Red Sox.
So Jack puts the paper down and he goes to the bathroom where the shower is running. He says good morning, and a woman's voice answers from the shower to tell him she bought him a razor. And can I just say, like, it's kind of a reveal who this woman is, but she does a really good job of masking her voice at first. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
You
Like,
think?
it doesn't.
Yeah.
I wonder, did they do any editing, or is that all just the actress?
Right.
I think
I-
it would have been way more exciting if a man's voice had come from the
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
shower.
can you
Yes.
imagine? And it's Sawyer, and you're like, what the fuck?
What?
It's Hurley.
It's early. No, it would be Mr. Friendly, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe Mr. Friendly and Arturo. I'd get in on that foursome.
So the woman, she tells him she bought him a razor. Jack says, "What? You don't like the scruff?" And I'm on his side. He looks better with the scruff. Most men
Agreed.
do.
Yeah, agreed.
The woman laughs and says, "Razor's by the sink, Jack." The shower turns off, and fucking Kate steps out
What?
as Jack wraps her in a towel, and they kiss.
Hell yeah.
All right.
You know, Jack.
And
Get
you know
it,
what? This is
son.
actually where the lost title screen is. I fucked it up and put it after the next scene, but that's not
my
true.
bad.
Yeah, no,
Or
it's
your
actually
your
here.
bad, I guess.
Yeah,
Her
correct.
bad, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna cut that. I have my own Word doc here because I added in some of my little things.
Oh, sorry.
So we get the lost title screen, and now we're in a child's bedroom where a mobile. How do you guys pronounce that word?
Mobile.
Mobile, probably. Yeah.
Where a mobile made of stars and planets hangs from the ceiling. Jack is reading Alice in Wonderland to Aaron. Kate is standing in the doorway, smiling. Jack reads a minute more until Aaron is asleep, and then turns off the light and leaves the room. Kate tells him he's a natural, and Jack says his
Oh.
father used to read him that story. Kate thinks it's sweet to hear Jack say something nice about his father.
Is
Jack
that nice
laughs.
to say?
Yeah, that was a weird.
It was
I
a
didn't know
statement.
how
It was
to-
a statement of fact. It wasn't really like he wasn't
Yeah.
saying like, "Oh, he read the story so well" or anything. I always thought that was a little
Well,
weird.
I mean, he said
Yeah.
it kind of wistfully, which kind of implies
suppose,
that it was
yeah.
a positive memory.
I
Yeah,
wasn't
I,
sure.
I,
Yeah.
I agree with
I-
Christy.
It felt like a bit of a weird thing for Kate to say for me. I don't know, because I don't know how much of like his trauma related to his father Jack has shared, but like I don't know,
Yeah.
if you had like a really awful dad and you said something nice and someone was like, oh, I wish you'd said more things nice about your dad. Like, wouldn't you be like, didn't you listen to all the horrific
Yeah.
stuff he did?
Well,
Like,
Right.
I
Yep,
would say,
I
yeah.
feel that with every fiber of my being.
Yeah, we all have daddy issues on
Yes.
this podcast. Well, except Derek. Well, I mean, I guess the issue is he had the good dad who died. So
Right.
that's
Yeah.
sort of an issue.
the good ones never hang around. They never hang around. So Jack laughs and says, I don't say nice things about my dad. Well, he was a good storyteller. I'll give him that. Hey, you okay? Kate replies, yeah, just I love seeing you with him. I'm so glad you changed your mind. So glad that you're here. Jack says he is too, and they kiss before Jack picks her up and carries her down the hall while she's laughing. I think this moment is really sweet and
Yeah.
kind of hot.
Yeah,
It is hot,
it's
yes.
both. It's cute and it's
really
hot.
like
I was
there-
actually
panties.
waiting in the
The
bedroom
knickers.
that he was carrying her to. Yeah, in the knickers.
Spoiler for your fuck.
Yeah. Actually,
Um,
no, I don't even remember. I put them in a couple days ago. So
But yeah.
this is an interesting timeline here, though, right? So clearly, we know they got back from the island, and then at the trial, he was like, wouldn't have anything to do with Aaron, and we still don't really know why, right? They tried to make us think it was Sawyer's kid, but then we found out it was Aaron. So then it's sometime after the trial. Now suddenly they're living together and playing house. And she's like, I'm so glad you changed your mind. So Derek, what happened? Why did he not want to be around Aaron? And then why did he change his mind? What do you think?
That's a good question,
For
actually.
that
Justin.
pussy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He saw those knickers and he was done. He's like, I don't care if you got a baby.
All right, fine. I'll talk to the kid.
Yeah.
All right.
It is
so
interesting
you
though
don't know.
because granted I haven't been following along as closely as you guys have, like I haven't been watching through, but to my memory this is the most believable I ever remember Jack and Kate's relationship being. Like this is very
definitely.
sweet and genuine, and I never
Right.
really I usually don't buy them as like people that are into each other, but I do in this case.
Yeah,
It's
I
really
agree.
It's funny that you say that because I was thinking as this scene was on, I was like, this doesn't feel right. This does not feel like
Oh,
them at
interesting.
all.
No.
Which
Really?
is
Well, yeah,
because
yeah.
they're never in that situation where things are
Yeah.
calm and like it's always they're worrying about existential sort of issues. So it felt kind of weird to see them in sort of this low stakes situation.
Yeah. And
So
maybe
I
that means
think
that-
no, go ahead, Dave.
maybe that means that they do have chemistry. They just never get a chance to explore it and express it.
Sure,
Could be
yeah.
because they're always like being traumatized when they're around each other. I would say, with just a quick run through of my brain, that there's one other time so far in this season that I think the two of them had that really like on screen connection. And that was at the beginning, early on, somewhere in season 2, when Jack is behind the glass and she comes in to ask him to do the operation so they won't kill Sawyer. And she's on the other side of the glass and they have their hands up together and the way they're looking at each other and they're very gentle. That's the only other scene I feel like you've seen them just with a real genuine connection with each other, which is hilarious because there was a wall between them. But
Yeah.
that's how I see it. Anyways,
That's acting.
well.
So we're back on the island. Juliet and Bernard are tending to Jack in the shade under a tree. Jack grunts a bit and then tells Juliet that he's good. Kate arrives and wants to know what happened. She's surprised when Juliet tells her he fainted. Jack says he's just dehydrated, but Kate feels his skin is burning up. Jack keeps trying to pretend that he's fine, and when Juliet tries to argue, he snaps, "I'm fine." And it's funny because in contrast to the flashback scene we just saw, all I could think of here is like this is him with stage 3 blue balls. He just hasn't gotten laid in a long time.
Oh my goodness. Oh, there is plenty of time on that island to be yanking it.
That's true.
They don't need to be blue.
That's why he's always
Yeah.
breathing hard. Every time he comes into a scene, he's like,
Just rub one off.
he's just rubbing one off.
Yeah.
I mean, his name is Jack.
Yeah.
we know Dan Faraday's a chronic masturbator, so there's got to be time on the island.
Jack isn't a name; it's a way of life.
Jack Shep's hard.
Oh my God.
So Sawyer, Claire, Miles, and Aaron are trekking through the jungle on their way back to the beach camp. Claire stumbles a bit and says she's a little woozy. Sawyer asks her about her head, and she says it's fantastic. She says it hurts a little, but she's not seeing that things anymore. Miles wants to know what she saw, but Sawyer jumps in to say, "Back off, donger."
Donger.
Lovely little
Oh my
bit of
God.
casual racism.
Yeah, I mean that's gone over my head. Is that a reference? Or
Yes.
I've actually never
Yeah.
heard that before.
Yes,
Have you never seen 16 Candles?
16 Candles. They get an exchange student, and they nickname him Donger, and he is just about the worst possible caricature of an Asian person that you could ever fucking imagine. And it was
Long
apparently,
dong.
it was apparently hilarious in the 80s. Does not hold up.
Character in
Awful.
Goonies too. Data in Goonies.
Worse than was it Mickey
Yeah.
Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Not worse than Mickey Rooney in Breakfast at
Oh,
Tiffany's.
God.
That is definitely the gold standard of horrific Asian portrayal. But yeah, I mean,
that has added yellow face.
We covered Short
It does.
Circuit a couple episodes ago, right?
yep. Yes,
Where
we
we
did.
had somebody in brown face
Minkowski.
basically for that one. Yeah, Minkowski
Yeah, because
doing brown
Minkowski
face.
played an Indian guy. Gosh, you know what? When you're young, it's middle age is a really interesting place to be, Dave. You got a decade or so before you catch up with us. But to be between between four generations, really, we've got the boomers and the greatest generation is still sort of alive. And, we're Gen X. I guess there's three behind us now. Millennials and Gen Z. Well, Alpha is very young.
Gen Alpha, but yeah, they're still kids.
Right, very young. But the thing is, it's a strange place to be in your life to be able to look back at those older generations and what they put out there and realize wow, cringe. This is really bad. But when I was growing up, I thought that's what was normal. And I'm so happy for the younger generations that have TV shows that Silo.
Are woke.
Yeah, well, yes and no, but let's take the show Silo for example that we talked about earlier, where there's no focus on race. Everyone is just what they are. Families are blended. You don't have to explain why one person's skin color is different than the other if they're parent and child, and it just is different, right? And
maybe that's why they're in there. Maybe the silo stops racism.
is that what it is?
That's the big mystery.
But and then you look back at movies like 16 Candles, which basically promoted racism and date rape, for fuck's sake, right? And that it was portrayed as romantic. It's oh my God. Anyways, we're chatty today.
Tangent
Shit.
City today, yeah.
Lord.
So back off Donger, which is what inspired this
Which is
combo.
what did
So Aaron starts to cry, and Miles defends himself, saying he's only making conversation. Sawyer decides they need to speed because if they hoof it, then they can get to the beach by noon tomorrow. Suddenly, Miles can hear something nobody else can. Voices echo, guns fire, bullets whiz. Alex can be heard screaming, "No!" Miles is on his fucking shining shit. Aaron fusses some more, and Sawyer notices that something's happening to Miles. He says, Hey. Miles responds with a question. Who's Danielle and Carl? Claire says, you mean Rousseau? The French
Coral.
woman? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
That's why it's in all caps.
It's annotated in the script, but my apologies. Aaron cries louder, and Miles begins digging in the ground. He moves some dirt from the face of Danielle, who is half buried in the ground. He says, "Is this your French woman?" And then he starts digging up Carl a few feet away. Sawyer wants to know how Miles knew the bodies were there.
More, Mrs. Torrance.
Red rum.
Miles isn't here. Sorry, I interrupted you for that.
Nah, it's all good. Sawyer wants to know how Miles knew the bodies were there. He asks, "Your buddies do this?" Miles says, "They're not my buddies, man. I didn't sign up for this." Claire is scared and wants to get out of there. Sawyer comforts her and tells her that as soon as they get back to the beach, everything will be fine. Aaron cries.
Anyone find it convenient that their faces were both like just basically peering out of the earth?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like he left their noses sticking
Just a
out.
few more inches of dirt, guys. You could
Very
have
specific
finished
way
that
of being
job.
buried.
Yeah.
So, do you believe him when Miles says, like, I didn't sign up for this? Like, do you think he's sincere?
Yeah, I think
so.
he just wanted to con him. I think he just was doing a con the whole time.
Right.
Yeah. Like, he was hired, obviously, to be like a medium or whatever he is. But I think he seems genuine in this moment where he's like, this killing is I'm not cool with that. All right.
Yeah, I mean, there's being a medium and then there's murder, and murder's just low.
Oh, for fuck's sake. High quality joke.
Yeah, there we go.
That's good. Back at the beach, Jack is whining about being sick to Juliet. He tells her he thinks it's food poisoning, and she wants to know what makes him think that. He says, I've got cramping, dehydration, and nausea. Juliet politely disagrees with his medical opinion and asks him to lift his shirt. Jack doubts her, but still follows her instructions. Juliet presses on him, and he winces in pain. She says, it's your appendix, Jack. When did the pain start? He tells her yesterday. She asks if it's ruptured, and he says, not yet. So Juliet replies, well, I guess we're going to have to take it out.
Well, I mean, Jack definitely knew that that's what was going on. He was just trying to hide it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because that's the right thing to do, is hide it until it bursts and make a bigger problem, Jack.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to mess with that.
Yeah.
I think he was just being overly optimistic on the boat people coming to get them.
Toxic masculinity is more like it.
Well, yeah, his like total need to be in control at all times puts him in
A lot of that
denial.
going on in this episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So Juliet is now talking to Sun, who says she remembers where the medical station is located. Juliet tells her that she needs to get the proper instruments and bring them back. Sun says she doesn't know what clamps and sutures look like. So
Really? All right.
So Dan offers to help her because he's familiar with surgical instruments. Yeah, and I didn't even notice that clamps and sutures, those are like two of the most well-known.
Like basic.
Yeah.
Basic. I mean, it's a clamp. It's in the name.
Yeah.
It's a thing that goes, meh, it's a clamp.
She's a rich bitch.
Guess she didn't watch ER.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's true.
Or one of those hospital shows.
Yeah, she grew up in a rich family.
Yep.
So Juliet questions him because he's a physicist, and Dan sputters out, well, I've done some animal autopsies too.
Oh.
Jin is not having it and says no. Sun says they can't trust him. So Charlotte chimes in. See, Dan? I told you. They're convinced we're trying to kill him. Might as well keep playing the part.
All right,
Faraday's had enough with Red and snaps. Damn it, Charlotte. That right there. Your attitude, your very bad attitude. It's exactly why they don't trust us. Come on. He's basically like giving her a bitch check here.
Yeah, she needs it.
Yep.
She's
Juliet,
like the epitome of like snooty English bitch, basically.
Yeah, she sucks.
Like what?
She
Like
sucks.
stereotypical. She probably hangs out with royals, and she's just awful.
So Faraday continues to Juliet. He says, Juliet, please, don't blame us for whatever is happening. We're scientists. We don't want anyone to get hurt. We just want to help. Please let us help. Juliet hands Daniel the list of supplies and then hands Jin a gun. She says, if either of them tries to run, shoot him in the leg. Get back here as fast as you can.
I love it.
So to Dan's point, though, like scientists have never done anything malevolent.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah.
He says that when Oppenheimer just came out.
I know.
Seriously.
I mean, maybe he means like as opposed to mercenaries.
Yeah.
Right, like we're like
yeah,
here's this
we're
group
not
of mercenaries.
we're not the
just
muscle on the
science.
team.
Yeah, we're not the muscle. We're just
We're
the
the nerds.
scientists. We're the nerds. Yeah, maybe that's what he's saying. But right, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like
Anyway,
a
it's
scientist can be
somewhat
bad.
worked.
Yeah.
So Juliet tells the rest of the people on the beach how to create a sterile environment. Kate wants to know why they don't just take Jack to the medical station. And Juliet says, because if we move him, there's a good chance that his appendix will rupture. And if that happens, he's going to die.
I mean, I'm not anywhere in the medical field, but I could have figured that part out.
Right.
Yeah, right. I mean, you can survive a ruptured appendix, but probably not without a hospital stay and a lot of antibiotics.
Not in those
Island.
conditions.
No.
Yeah.
So we cut back to Claire, Aaron, and Miles and Sawyer, who are now by a creek. And
I want
Miles
to
is
point
looking-
out it's a big head. It's the
Big head,
giant
baby.
head,
Big
Aaron.
head baby, yeah.
Big head Aaron.
Yeah.
Triple A Ron.
Yeah. Triple A Ron?
Yeah.
So Miles is looking at Claire when Sawyer says, "Don't look at her. Don't talk to her. Don't mess with her. You got a restraining order. 20 feet."
I love it.
Miles wonders if Sawyer is her big brother, and Sawyer says, "No, I'm the guy who's going to put a boot in your face unless you say, 'Yeah, I get you.'" Miles says, "Yeah, I get you."
Sawyer is
Yeah,
being very
Sawyer.
big brotherly.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
cute in this episode.
He you know what? Honestly, like over the entire course of the show, Sawyer has one of the most profound emotional and like journeys, I think.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
He's got like a protective, sort of nurturing nature to him.
yeah, he
Whereas
does. And
Jack has no growth whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. Jack
I
is
think
just
he
a
goes
flat line
backwards,
the entire time.
actually.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the thing about Sawyer that's interesting is like he what he used to do was just take advantage of people, and he seems to have found a way to take that energy and channel it now into being the support and the protector of people, and like that's such a huge change for him, which I think is great.
At least 30-40% of that energy goes towards thinking up nicknames, though. He could do much,
That's
much
true.
more if he weren't constantly coming up with nicknames.
Burns a lot of calories. He's like the Flash.
It does.
He has to like
Yeah, man.
eat donuts to have the energy.
Being clever
Come up
is
with
like
nicknames.
very calorically hungry.
I'm sure that you know about that, Ben.
Right.
Fuck, yeah. That's why I eat like I do.
So back on the beach, Bernard is setting up a table while Rose gets supplies to clean it. He's trying to reassure her by telling her that an appendectomy is a very routine surgery. But Rose says, "That's not what I was thinking about. I was thinking, why did he get sick?"
I thought she was going to rank him out right here and be like, Bernard, you're just a dentist. Like,
Yep, me too.
shut the fuck up. What do you know?
You don't know
What do you
shit
know?
about appendectomies.
You don't know shit.
Yeah.
You clean
I can't believe I
teeth,
married you, you
asshole.
worthless pile of
You're
shit.
you're not a real doctor.
He's a
Bernard-
dentist. Sorry, I don't know, Dave. Are you familiar with that musical? Kind of young.
Is that the one with Neil Patrick Harris? No, never mind.
No,
It's a
not
Little
the
Shop
movie.
of Horrors.
Little Shop,
Little
of,
Shop
Horrors.
of Horrors.
The movie version,
Rick
Steve Martin
Moranis.
plays, the
Steve
crazy
Martin played
dentist.
the dentist.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it, but I'm aware of it
Oh,
culturally.
it's fantastic.
It
Oh,
is.
so good. Yeah, and he's like an evil dentist who loves to inflict pain upon people. So that probably doesn't do a lot for the dental field when that was out and popular.
I mean, that's pretty much the dental field.
Yeah.
Is it?
My
Yeah.
I mean, anyway.
I was talking to someone about this the other day. Dentists have gotten nicer. Maybe it's just because I grew up in Ireland and they were all horrible old men. But like every dentist I go to in Canada is very sweet and is usually like a young lady. And
I
I
actually
actually-
really like my dentist right now.
I actually really like my dentist too. I had to switch. Ben and I had the same dentist, and I had to switch because I always got the same dental assistant, and she did not understand personal space. She would like hover over me and be in my face, and I would have a panic attack every time I went to the
She was
dentist
in your mouth, yeah.
No. I mean, while like talking to me, she was the assistant, and she would come
Oh.
in. Yeah, not the actual dentist, but and I would, because she wouldn't get away from me, I'd have a panic attack through the whole thing. So I had to switch. But now I really like my dentist actually, and she is a young woman.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess the field changed.
shout out to your dentist.
There
She's
you go.
listening. So Bernard figures, Jack's just had bad luck, but Rose finds something suspicious about the fact that the person they count on most has gotten a life-threatening condition the day before he's supposed to get them rescued.
Hmm.
Bernard says, "Well, what are you saying? That Jack did something to offend the gods? People get sick, Rose." But Rose is defiant and says, "Not here. Here, they get better."
I think it's just that the island is
He
angry.
offended the island.
Yeah.
Must have.
Maybe he's a sacrifice that the island is demanding.
Ooh.
Or just his appendix.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or he swallowed some gum. Isn't that the old? They used to. I don't know. Do they still tell kids that? They used to tell us that when we were
It
kids.
was
Don't
staying
swallow
there
your gum.
forever.
In your
Yeah.
appendix, stay forever.
I did it once when I was a kid, and a guy in my street told me that it makes your guts stick together. And so I ran home in tears, telling my mom what had happened.
I was told that it just stays in there for 7 years. I don't know where the fuck that came from.
Well, these days it's just microplastics that do that anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's
It's like
actually
anything
true.
with bad luck was always 7 years. Oh, you break a mirror, 7 years of bad
7
luck.
years.
Yeah.
That was just one of those rumors that run around, Christy. Like Marilyn Manson took his ribs out so he could suck his own cock. Like,
Wait a minute, that's not true? But I remember that, yes. I was like, ooh, does
Not
that really work? If that
true.
works,
Richard Gere.
Oh, the hamster.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
That was an interesting one.
No,
Why
I worked
Richard
with
Gere?
a guy who said, "Oh yeah, my wife was a nurse at that hospital, and it was true. She saw the X-ray." I'm like,
Sure.
okay.
Sure she was.
But he also said his father was an MI6 in England, like James Bond. So I knew he was full of shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Wow.
So we're back with Juliet and Jack, and Juliet is shaving Jack's stomach. He says, "When was the last time you did this?" And Juliet replies, "An appendectomy or shaving a man's stomach?" Which amazing.
Juliet's
This
a
scene
killer.
made me think of-
She's-
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ben.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say Juliet's killer in this episode and always, and she's just
I'm loving
fucking
her
great.
in this.
I love her.
She's doing great.
This scene kind of reminded me of. You ever seen Spies Like Us?
Oh, yes.
Oh, maybe a long time ago.
Where they like Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase land. They're supposed to be like spies or whatever. They land in the Afghani desert or whatever, and they end up having to do surgery on this guy. They're pretending to be doctors, and they go in there, and this guy's like a I don't know, Muslim freedom fighter or something like that. And they're reading through they have to do an appendectomy. And the first thing in the directions was first you have to shave the patient. So they go and they start putting the shaving cream all over his face.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
That just
Oh my
reminded me of
God.
that. That's a really long wind up for a very poor delivery, but
Well, all I know is there's
It's
an
a great
episode.
movie.
There's a Family Guy episode where they have them on and they spoof Spies Like Us. So that's what I know.
such an underrated movie.
So they both laugh a little at this joke, Jack and Juliet. And then Juliet says she did a lot of them in her residency.
Which
Jack
is
points
probably
out
true.
Jack points out that the incision is actually supposed to be 2 inches lower, and he basically mansplaining an appendectomy to her.
Yeah.
And then he says, "I want to talk you through it. I don't want to be unconscious. We can use the lidocaine to numb the area, and then I can watch the procedure, help you out."
Okay.
Juliet wants
Stop for 1 second. I have to derail this again. Well, one, it's lidocaine. At least in the United States, it is.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
But I have a sort of a funny story about that, about a surgery with lidocaine. And Christy will appreciate this the most because she actually got to meet my Lithuanian grandfather, Tavuk. That's not his name. His name.
I remember this story.
Yeah. So his actual name was Vasis, but Lithuanian grandfather, the word is Tavukas. And so as kids, we shortened it to Tavuk. So one day, my grandfather had a heart attack. And so he had to go to the hospital. And while he was at the hospital, he was arguing with the doctors and screaming at them in Lithuanian. And they had to call my dad to come to help translate for him. And it's not that he didn't speak English, but he was just upset. And they had sedated him because they were trying to get him into surgery. And so he was slipping in and out of English, Lithuanian, and German because he was a prisoner of war for a while in Germany. So he knows the Nazis taught him how to speak German. Anyways, my dad gets there and he's talking to my grandfather. And what he's so upset about is that he wanted to be awake for his open heart surgery. And the doctors were trying to explain the doctors were trying to explain to him why he couldn't be awake during the open heart surgery. And the argument that he kept making was that he got to be awake during his knee surgery and they put lidocaine on it and he was fine. He didn't feel a thing. So just lidocaine the heart and he's going to be fine. And they were trying to explain to him that if you lidocaine the heart, it'll stop. and like you'll die. Like you can't do that, and like you can't cut into the chest and lidocaine the heart. And so my father had to come and explain that to him in Lithuanian, and had to like fight to get him to actually agree to go into the surgery.
Very funny.
And he finally did. And then he was so proud. My grandpa was a farmer for his whole life, and he was built like, he looks like a cartoon dog that stands on two legs, that has huge upper body and skinny little, like
the
no
one from
gym
Tom and
legs.
Jerry.
Yeah,
It's accurate.
Yes.
It's accurate.
He was like a bulldog. And he was so proud that when he got out of surgery, he told me, he said, Lacey, the doctors tell me I have the biggest chest they ever seen. They had to cut through layers and layers and layers. And he was so proud of that. And I was like, well, you see, like, how could they have possibly lidocained all of your giant chest? And so that was my grandpa, had to be explained.
I love the idea. Love the idea that your grandpa thought like the heart and the knee were
Yeah, we're
equivalent.
the same thing. Same thing.
It's like just as important to the functioning of the body as one another.
But he was a hay farmer, and so he was like big on top from throwing hay bales around,
Brick
and
shithouse.
yeah, pretty much. Anyways,
So Juliet wants to know how Jack plans to watch while flat on his back with her hand in his abdominal cavity. Good question.
With my
Jack
eyes,
replies-
stupid.
Yeah.
Jack replies, we can use a mirror. Kate can hold it. Got to throw it in. You get him every now and again.
Yep.
Julia thinks if anyone's going to be in there, it should be someone with medical experience. She suggests Bernard, but Jack is firm and repeats, I want it to be Kate.
And Rose says,
Juliet.
hell no.
He's just a dentist. You don't have any medical experience.
Juliet acquiesces to Jack's demands, which brings us to flash forward number 2. So Jack is walking with his patient, Miss Berenberg, through the lobby of the hospital. And I got to say, that shirt and tie combo really does not work with that lab coat.
no.
No.
I don't know. He puts on like a blazer later on, and I'm like, okay, I get it now, but I just thought he looked awful. He tells her she's in good hands and then confirms they'll see each other at 5 a.m. tomorrow. He reminds her no solid foods and then wishes her a good evening. Jack is about to return to work when he sees who he thinks is Christian Shepherd walk out of the building.
What?
The fuck?
A woman is trying to get his attention, but Jack is stunned. Finally, he snaps back to hear the woman ask if he'll look at an L4 x-ray. Jack agrees just as the receptionist tells him that a Dr. Stillman from Santa Rosa is on the phone about a friend of his.
Uh-oh.
What?
Sometime later, Jack and Dr. Stillman are walking down a hallway in the Santa Rosa Mental Health Institute, while Stillman tells Jack that Hurley has stopped eating and stopped taking his meds, and therapy has been rendered useless since Hurley has decided Dr. Stillman doesn't exist.
Oh, dear.
Cool.
It's that easy to get out of it?
Not
Wow.
Right,
that's
seriously.
a problem.
They just don't exist. No more meds. Thank you.
The door to Hurley's room is then opened, and Hurley can be seen sitting on the edge of the bed, gazing into space.
Poor Hurley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
You're not doing
ironic
so
that he's
good.
not on his meds here because this is like the most sedated he's ever seemed.
Right.
That's true.
Jack says, "Hey," and Hurley responds with the same. But without turning his head. Jack sits down and asks why Hurley won't take his meds. Hurley responds, "Because we're dead, all of us, all the Oceanic Six. We're all dead.
What?
We never got off that island."
What?
Which is, I think, the writers like definitely dancing up to the sort of
Fucking
prevailing theory of the time.
Yeah, because they had
you
come
know.
out and directly said, like,
Yeah,
they're
the
not
island's-
dead,
island's
it's not purgatory.
Yeah.
Right.
And so,
That's the one thing I remember back then. One of the
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
few things about the show is, they're in purgatory. But
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
It's funny
that
that
was,
they-
yeah,
It's funny that
debunked.
they always reference it.
right.
Purgatory was gotten rid of recently, or like maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah.
The
Pope
Catholic
said no
Church
more
nixed it.
purgatory. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Shut it down.
Just get rid
How
of a
does
whole
that-
plane of
This,
existence.
the,
Right, how does that work?
imaginary, this
Yeah.
imaginary thing that didn't exist before double doesn't
Yeah.
exist now. Like,
Right.
Jesus Christ. Give me a fucking break.
Harvest it for resources and relocate
Exactly.
unborn babies.
all the little baby souls are all packed up and
Yep,
moved
on
out.
to wherever.
Oh, dear. Where are we? Sorry.
Sent down south where they don't have abortions anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Well, they thought purgatory would be better if they paved it and used mixed use residential commercial buildings.
Right, they used eminent domain on it.
Condos
Exactly.
everywhere. So Jack tells him that's not true. So Hurley asks what Jack did today. Jack relays the morning, and when he gets to Kate and I fed the baby, Hurley says, "I thought you didn't want anything to do with Aaron."
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Jack said he changed his mind after the trial.
Hmm.
Hurley thinks living with Kate and taking care of Aaron sounds a lot like heaven. Jack says, "Just because I'm happy doesn't mean it isn't real, Hurley." And Hurley replies, "I was happy too, Jack. For a while anyway. Then I saw Charlie.
Oh.
He likes to sit with me on the bench out on the front lawn.
What?
It's pretty cool, actually."
Yeah.
Okay.
Jack looks upset at this, sighs, and says, "So what did the two of you talk about?" Hurley tells him that yesterday Charlie told him that Jack would be coming by and he should deliver a message. Jack looks at him skeptically while Hurley opens a drawer and takes out a piece of paper. Hurley says Charlie made him write it down so he wouldn't mess it up. He gets the paper open and reads it. "You're not supposed to raise him, Jack."
Oh.
Jack
Whoa.
Yep.
Jack claims that doesn't make any sense, but then Hurley says, "Do you think he means Aaron?" Jack is frustrated and tells Hurley to take his meds before opening the door to leave. He's fucking shook by this.
Yeah.
He's really
Oh, yeah.
happy.
That's
Yeah.
why he gets up. He's like, I'm out of
Yeah.
here.
And if he's not shook by this, then the next sentence ought to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, before Jack leaves, Hurley says, "Hey, Jack, Charlie said someone's going to be visiting you too
Uh-oh.
soon."
You will be visited by three ghosts.
That's exactly what I thought here.
Frankincense and myrrh. And
Okay, wait, we got wise men. We
Yeah,
got
we got two- yeah.
three ghosts.
yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking more like Ebenezer Scrooge style.
Yeah, that's what I
Past,
thought.
present. Yeah.
Jack needs to be taken into the future to see what it looks like if he can't give up the slightest bit of control. I think he could use those ghosts actually.
So Son, Jin, Daniel, and Charlotte all arrive outside the staff station. Jin brushes off the plants covering the station's exterior. Charlotte opens the door and is about to go in before Dan grabs her arm. He says that he should go in first to make sure it's safe. She tells him to be careful. In Korean, Jin asks Son if she thinks that Charlotte knows Faraday likes her. Son replies in Korean, "She's a woman. She knows."
True story.
Charlotte turns back and faintly smiles at both of them.
It's just the slightest little half
Tiniest.
turn of her head
Yeah.
with the slightest little half smirk. It's
Yeah.
so tiny.
Yeah.
But
Doesn't get past
yes.
Jin, though.
Yeah, subtle,
yeah.
but obviously there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Sun is correct, fellas. All of us ladies know when you want to fuck us. It's obvious.
Yeah.
You're not hiding it. So just letting you know.
Actually, I've been
You can see
told.
the bulge
I've
in
told
the pants. So
throughout my life I've been very good at hiding it, but it probably has something to do with being autistic. That I'm not very good at.
Okay. Neurotypical men.
Funny,
you go.
funny you
We
should
know.
bring that up. Funny you should bring that up because I was going to leave this for my final thoughts. But Dan, when this scene was playing, I was like, Daniel Faraday is one of the great neurodivergent characters. Of
Has
all
to
time.
be. Oh, yeah.
Like, can you see the
absolutely.
trouble he's having with eye contact in this
Yes.
scene? and
Oh, yeah.
everything? To use a
Uh-huh.
problematic word, but a term from, you know what? I don't want to say that. Never mind. Let's cut that bit out.
Yeah.
Dave has retracted the statement that he did not give. So
Though he did use the word spastic. I'm just going to say that.
spastic, I know. And you know what? That's actually not a word we're supposed to use anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Because it was
I know.
Yeah, and
Cancelled.
it's one that I find slips out of my mouth from time to time. I've gotten much better about the R word. That one was really hard for me. You know what I saw? Mark Paul Gosselaar was on a podcast. He does a Saved
Zach
by the
Morris
Bell.
is trash.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does a Saved by the Bell podcast, and he talks about all of watching it back and all of the cringe moments and how a lot of what he did on that show is hard to watch now, which I think is great for him to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can remember there are episodes where he's doing "Ooh," this kind of thing that we used
Oh,
to
yeah.
do to make fun of
Like
disabled.
Donald Trump did.
Like
Yeah.
Donald Trump did. Yeah, exactly. Like he did in 2020, not in 1985. But yeah, it's for sure, I agree with you. Daniel is neurodivergent in some way,
I've been
clearly.
hearing a bit of a resurgence of sped, and that wasn't something that
What's SPED?
Heard a lot.
Stead.
SPED, special ed.
Oh, no. Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't
really?
like that.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. I can think of all the things I used to say. I used to say the R
Short
word
bus.
a lot. Yep. I used to say, oh, you ride the short bus, that kind of thing. And it never occurred to me how awful that was until, of late.
Remember, Sean Greenman used to give us all nicknames, kind of like
Yes.
Sawyer does.
Yes, that's right.
There
This
was-
is somebody that we worked with at the restaurant where we met.
Yeah.
What were y'all's
Hey, Sean.
nicknames?
Well, mine was Fuego.
Yes, on Fuego.
Yeah.
I don't remember what mine was. Probably Spacey. That's what I usually got. Was Spacey Lacey, and only
Spacey
after
Lacey.
and only after I was diagnosed with ADHD did I realize that why I was called Spacey Lacey a lot.
Well, there was one girl that he called Touchdown because she's got a touch of the.
Oh my god!
Oh,
Yeah.
No!
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, it's problematic, but it's clever.
It's clever.
I mean, it was 20 years ago. That doesn't excuse it, but
No.
I'm sure that we've all grown from then.
So the secret door to the medical lab makes a grinding sound across the floor as it slides open. As the four enter the lab, Daniel wonders where the power is coming from. Charlotte doesn't want to worry about it. She would. She thinks they should grab the stuff and go. The two of them start rummaging through things. Jin notices Son staring at the exam table, and she tells him this is where Juliet brought her to see their baby. Charlotte hands something to Daniel, and Son says to Jin, "They're not going to help us, Jin." Charlotte glances at the mother speaking in Korean. Jin says, "Don't worry about them." Excuse me. "I promise you, Son, I will get you and our baby off this island." Again, Charlotte glances their way.
Mm.
So the trekking gang is now navigating through the thick jungle when Claire trips and her shoe comes off.
Of course.
Miles offers
Okay.
to help her with Aaron, but she says she's fine.
Oh no!
Miles insists he's good with kids when Sawyer whips around to say, "What part of restraining order don't you understand?"
Bam.
Leaves can be heard rustling. Sawyer cocks his gun and he tells Claire to get behind him. They hear footsteps approaching. Sawyer points his gun in the direction of the sound. Lapidus emerges from the foliage. Sorry. Carrying an aviation first aid kit and a beeping satellite phone.
Hey guys, I'm going to be frank with you here.
Hey! Lapidus is surprised and Sawyer wants to know who the hell he is. When Frank and Miles notice each other, and Lapidus immediately says, "You gotta hide, man, right now. Kimi's coming back, and if he sees you, he'll kill all you."
Fucking Kimi.
The beeping on the satellite phone gets quicker. It's like fucking Ripley and the Alien.
Yep.
and Lapidus says Kimi is close. Sawyer grabs Claire's hand and pulls her into the thicket. Miles follows them, and they all crouch down. The satellite phone begins beeping, increases rapidly, then stops when Kimi and 5 other members of the freighter's military team step out of the jungle. One of them, badly wounded, is braced on the shoulders of 2 other men. Kimi wants to know where the chopper is, and Lapidus tells him it's about a click back that way.
Get to the chopper.
Kimi takes the first aid kit from Lapidus and hands it to the black mercenary. Birds chirp, and one high-pitched bird in particular. From hidden within the brush, Aaron makes a sound. Claire holds Aaron close against her. The high-pitched bird chirps again. Kimi looks around for the source of the noise. Lapidus encourages them to leave before dark because he won't fly Faraday's bearings at night. Sawyer readies his gun in case they're discovered, but Kimi then gives up his search for the noise, and he and the other mercenaries follow Lapidus to the helicopter.
Lapidus saved them
He did.
right there.
Yep.
Like he is
Big time.
insisted, I'm not going to fly.
Let's
We got to
Let's get
now.
out of here. Who cares?
Yeah. So it looks like
Gee.
Lapidus didn't really sign up for this either.
No.
Right.
It seems a lot like Lapidus,
I don't think any
Miles,
of them did.
Yeah,
The
Faraday,
scientist
Charlotte.
ones, yeah. The
Yeah.
non-mercenaries.
Right.
Faraday and Charlotte are scientists, and Lapidus is a scientist. Back on the beach, Kate tells Juliet the tent is all ready. Juliet asks her to assist during the surgery, but Kate doesn't think it's a good idea. However, Juliet explains it's just holding a mirror so Jack can talk her through the surgery.
Good God.
Kate laughs, and when Juliet asks why, she says, "I'm just surprised he's not taking it out of himself by now." Juliet smiles, and then Jack emerges from the tent, stumbling.
I imagine
Kate
him walking out of the tent with like his side cut open and his appendix in his hand.
Appendix
Here, I
in
got
his
my
hand.
appendix. Yeah, done.
I did it.
Kalima.
Kate tries to help him, but he winces when she does. Juliet says they'll be back with instruments soon, so they need to be ready. Juliet leaves, and Kate says, "So it looks like I'm going to be your nurse." Jack sighs and says, "It won't be for the first time." She chuckles a bit, and then Jack says, "Listen, if something happens to me," but Kate cuts him off to say, "Shut up, Jack." He chuckles and replies, "Fair enough." Okay, so this takes us to flash forward number 3, where a train horn blows in the distance. And Jack is sitting in his Ford Bronco outside Santa Rosa Mental Health Facility at night. It's a real vibe. For a second, he stares at the bench where Hurley said he met with Charlie, and then he starts the car and he drives off.
I think the vibe is like Halloween. Like I expect Michael Myers to walk out and stab him.
He gets home to find Kate asleep in bed. He wakes her up. She's groggy and asks what time it is. He tells her it's late.
Which is not a time.
She notices something isn't right with him and asks what's going on. Jack says, "The other night when I was reading to Aaron, you said that I was a natural. Do you really think that I'm good at this?" She confirms that he is. So Jack removes a small box from his pocket. He says, "Will you marry me?" Kate gasps.
What?
They both chuckle a little as he takes out the ring. With tears in her eyes, she says, "Yes."
Really?
Jack puts the ring on her finger and she says, "Of course I will. Yes." They kiss, laugh, and hug each other. Where the fuck did this dude get an engagement ring at 4:00 in the morning?
He's Dr. Jack, bitch.
Yeah.
He stole it off a fucking cadaver or something.
There you go. Yeah.
He's a silver surgeon. He's got connections. He's one of the Oceanic Six. He probably just had somebody open up a jeweler.
Or he threw a fucking cinder block through a window and just grabbed one and ran.
Maybe.
He's fucking at large right now in Los Angeles. Anyway, we're back on the island. It's nighttime on the beach. Juliet lights a torch from the campfire and hands it to Bernard. Juliet sees Faraday and Charlotte and runs over to see if they got everything on the list. Daniel says they did, so Juliet tells Son to go boil the instruments to get them sterile. When they walk off, Jin speaks Korean to Charlotte. "I know you understand me." She tries to play dumb, but Jin continues in Korean. "I know you speak Korean. You smiled when Son and I talked about you, and you were listening to us at the station." Again, she tries to pretend she doesn't understand him. So in Korean, Jin says, "If you continue to lie, I'm going to hurt your friend Daniel. I'm going to break his fingers one at a time." Do you understand that?
Damn.
Fucking savage.
Yep.
I believe him.
Damn.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously. I really do, too. Yeah, Jin's a badass.
Hell yeah.
She replies in Korean, "What do you want?" Jin tells her that when the helicopter comes, Charlotte is to get Son aboard it. Charlotte wants to know about the rest of his friends, but Jin ignores her and again says, "Just get her on the helicopter." Charlotte nods in confirmation, and Jin leaves.
Jin's a badass. Anyone?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Baller. Yeah.
Loving it.
Yeah. I did think it was cool and badass. Is it maybe unnecessarily hostile?
A little bit, but I think he's kind of getting his point across. Like Christy says, I believe him. Thing is, I think Charlotte believes him, but I don't think he'd actually do that.
No,
but
maybe not. Although it is, I guess
He's trying to
kind
get
of
her
the
to acknowledge that she understood him too.
Yeah,
right.
It's kind of the vibe towards them right now as well. I guess there's still a lot of mistrust about.
Yeah, but I think
Charlotte,
Derek's right. Like he went to the extreme to force her to respond.
Yep.
I think,
That's
but
what I
like
believe.
knowing Jin, I don't think he would actually do that. But Charlotte doesn't know that, and so that's the advantage that
Right,
he
because
has.
he was failed to kill people when he was ordered to.
Yeah. I mean, breaking a finger or two is different than murdering someone, but still. Yeah.
So Juliet activates a makeshift surgery lamp by turning on 4 flashlights bound together and hung from the ceiling of a tent. Fucking MacGyver.
Batteries last forever on this island.
Right.
Maybe they got those shaky ones that. the shake weight charge batteries.
Oh, hell yeah.
Kate ties her hair back. Bernard flicks the bubbles out of a syringe of local anesthetic. He swabs an area on Jack's lower right abdomen. Bernard suggests to Jack that they use some chloroform on him. Is this the part where he says the episode title?
Does he?
He's like, put you to sleep, dream of something nice back home or something.
Did he even say that? I don't remember.
Yeah, no, he definitely says it because I
That's
really
great.
wanted him to look at the camera and wink, you know.
Yeah.
But Jack is insistent that he be awake. Jack is grunting as Bernard gives the lidocaine.
Yes.
My apologies. I'm not very familiar with medical terminology. I'm not a science guy. I'm not Bill
Wow.
Nye.
I know medical terminology.
I'm a humanities dork. Jack is directing Kate on how to hold the mirror when Bernard says, okay, now this is going to numb the area of the first incision. After that, I would like to be able to tell you that you're not going to feel a thing, but you will.
Yeah, see, that's what my grandpa didn't understand that either.
Juliet asks if Jack is ready as she snaps on gloves. She makes the incision and Jack grunts some more. As she gets deeper, Jack yells, ah!
Yep, deeper.
Wow, this seems hotter than I remember.
You're so giddy.
I'm a little bit drunk.
Oh, nice. Isn't it like 1 o'clock there?
Yeah, 1:28.
It's 1:30.
Nice. Well, you know, when they say it's 5 p.m. somewhere, it's in 32 minutes here. So
Yeah, there you go.
you're golden.
I'm drinking on East Coast time.
Juliet tells him not to move as she asks Bernard to hand her the spreader, which,
Giggity.
Hot.
yeah, like
Yeah.
that name. I mean, it does what it says in the tin. I understand that, but like, Jesus Christ, it sounds like a sexual torture device.
Oh, I've seen those used, not on humans, but in animal surgery when you do like abdominal surgery. Yeah, you put
I
them in
thought you
there
meant
and
sexual
crank it
torture
open.
devices.
Yeah,
I was
me
like,
too.
what the fuck?
Yeah, you see
No.
the use
Yeah.
of animals. Put the dog's ass and spread it. I mean,
No, I have not seen sexual torture devices. I have seen spreaders used on chest cavities, is what I was trying to say. Good Lord.
Jack says he can't see, so Kate apologizes and moves the mirror. This causes him to move again. Juliet has to tell him to stop moving. Jack is groaning and said, "Jeez, this is a sexual scene." Jack is groaning and said, "That's good. Yeah, that's it. That's good." Juliet inserts the spreader and clicks it open. Moans Jack while he moves again. Juliet tells Bernard to knock him out with chloroform. Oh, now it's getting problematic.
little medical fetish here going on.
But Jack says, no, I don't want to be unconscious, clearly showing his lack of consent.
Oh my God.
Juliet snaps back. You didn't use the safe word. No, she says you don't want to be out of control.
She's
Juliet
right
starts
about
yelling.
that.
Juliet starts yelling at Kate to leave and at Bernard to get the chloroform. Jack is still protesting as Bernard fumbles around getting the drug. Juliet yells again, Kate, get out of here. Damn it, Bernard, knock him out. Bernard says, I'm sorry, Jack, but I agree. As Jack continues to protest, Bernard holds the cloth over his face and everything goes white.
I mean, that was the right thing to do.
Oh, yeah, hello.
100%. 100%.
You can't have abdominal surgery while you're awake, for fuck's sake.
You can. There was a science mission to like Antarctica or something.
Oh.
And like the doctor had appendicitis. And so
he was the only one that could talk
had
them
to stay
through.
awake during the surgery to talk others through it.
That is fucked up.
Did Lost rip that off, or is that life imitating art?
I don't know.
Oh, she's going to Google.
Yeah.
I was
keep
just
going, you
under anesthesia this week. I had my very first colonoscopy.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
And
fun.
you drank that whole
Yay.
thing?
I did.
She
I
did.
did. I have never shat like that in my life. It
And aren't
was
you a prolific shatter?
Yeah,
in general?
I
Yeah.
love to poop. I will poop as much as I possibly can. I enjoy it thoroughly. This was more like Niagara Falls was coming out of my ass.
Mm.
I've
Yeah,
never.
been there.
Yes,
Except not
Christy's
so
had one.
picturesque.
Ben has had one. And it was just
I'm
like,
supposed to have one. I got to make an appointment. I'm dreading it.
it was pretty intense because it was just sort of like, wow, this is actually happening to my body right now. And you know what? I pooped it all out. And then I got on the scale and I had only lost 2 pounds. And Ben
What?
said, Yes.
That sucks.
And Ben said, huh, you appear to be not as full of shit as I expected.
Nice. Snaps.
It's like, yeah, okay.
Okay,
So
so
you probably get like no. You get
Oh,
no.
hang
No,
on,
Christy's
I've-
got it. Christy's
I've got it. February 1961.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
Maybe-
Little
maybe the
before
writers
Lost.
read about it.
Being a surgeon, he had no difficulty in diagnosing acute appendicitis. Unfortunately, he didn't find himself in the civilized world, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, he had to
Holy
stay awake during
fuck.
his own appendectomy.
Fun.
That's terrifying. That's terrifying. I hate that. Let's go to flash forward number 4.
Okay.
The white screen morphs into Jack looking at a backlit X-ray examination board. He puts a new film into place showing a spine and begins dictating into a recorder. He says, Laker, Ryan. Patient is male, 36. Jack hears a beep in the distance. He continues, oh God. Osteoblastoma.
Hey!
Okay, I think
Well
I got
done.
it there.
Yeah.
You got it.
Osteoblastoma is present in the posterior area of the lumbar. The beep happens again and then a third time.
And now
Jack puts down
has
his work.
PTSD.
What'd you say,
Jack was-
Christy?
I said now Jack has some PTSD happening.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Jack puts down his work and exits his office. Another beep. He looks up at the source, a rogue smoke alarm placed over the reception desk of the neurosurgery group at St. Sebastian Hospital. Jack replaces the battery just as a familiar voice out of nowhere startles him. Jack? Jack
Oh my
jumps
God.
around. Sorry, he doesn't jump around. Jump around. Jack jumps and turns around.
Jack raises the roof. Dad!
Jack jumps up and gets down.
Yes.
There, sitting on a couch in the waiting area, is his father, Christian Shepherd, wearing the suit he was to be buried in and white sneakers.
What?
This scene is so well done. Like, it's so fucking...
yeah.
So good.
And it's not even like the usual sort of cop-out thing they do of he blinks and it's gone. Like, Christian lingers there for an uncomfortably long time.
Yeah.
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 It's amazing. I really like how they did this scene.
Yeah.
Let me see. Jack slowly moves closer to his father, who sits up. Again, a voice from behind him says, Jack? Jack gasps and turns around. It's the doctor who asked about the x-rays earlier. She looks at the couch in the waiting area. Jack looks there too, but no one is there. He sighs deeply. She asks him if he's okay, and Jack just stutters. Yeah, I'm okay. I just... this is fucking great acting from Matthew Fox here, by the way. He looks proper shook. Like, it's,
Yeah.
it's great.
Matthew Shepard, he's just good at shook.
Matthew Fox.
Mm.
Matthew Fox.
Matthew
Yeah.
Shepard.
Matthew Shepard.
Matthew Shepard was a
Matthew
gay
Shepard.
man who was murdered when we were
Yes.
in our teenagers, in our
Yes.
teen years. Oh, good God. Where Matthew Fox, it's like it's his wheelhouse, man. It's
He must have a lot of trauma to draw from.
to draw
his
from
acting.
that.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So Jack is holding his head and holding back tears when he tries to explain he was changing the smoke alarm. She thanks him for keeping them safe, and then as she's walking away, Jack asks her to prescribe him clonazepam.
Clonazepam, you got it.
Yeah, what is that? Is that like an
It's a benzo.
antidepressant?
It's a benzodiazepine.
Oh, it's benzo.
It's benzo. It's in the same family as Xanax.
Mm, okay. Yeah. So just to chill you the fuck out.
Yeah. Xanax is
He's-
just I can't remember. Anything that ends in Pam is a benzo.
Mm. There's a, you know how you have your local homeless characters in every city? There's a character
sure.
in Toronto, a guy who looks like Santa Claus, and he's always zanned out, so people call him Santa Claus.
Oh,
my God.
Wow.
Yeah. So Jack says, I just got a lot going on right now, and I'm just a little snowed under with all my caseload, and Kate and I got engaged. Just not sleeping very well at night, just... He trails off. She takes out a prescription pad, scribbles on it, and then tells him that getting engaged is supposed to reduce stress, not make it.
Is it?
Not true.
Yeah, I was like, is it?
No.
No.
A wedding is just about the most stressful fucking thing.
Although,
you can go
I
through.
think there's probably an afterglow before you start planning the wedding.
That's true. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
He then chuckles and takes the script. She suggests maybe Jack should see a therapist, and he agrees. He'll do that.
But he doesn't, even though he should.
Yeah. Is this the start of it? He gets that clonazepam, and this is the start of the drugged out Jack
Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
see at the end of season 3.
I did notice that towards the end of the episode. I was thinking how it's cool how that's sort of coming together now, along with a lot of other things. I also think like this is my like film school take on this, but like the fact that Kate gives him a razor and then he has a beard is like a symbolic rejection of the good that she brought to his life. You know?
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
He ignores the razor, huh? How about that?
How about that?
How about that for a YouTube video essay?
I think now, like this whole scene with Christian maybe being there, maybe not, is probably about as close to a dream sequence as we're going to get. So should maybe we talk about the dream that I had?
Flawless segue. Flawless. Go for it.
So, okay. So I had this dream. And it was one of those weird dreams where it's like disjointed different scenes and none of it really makes any sense, but you kind of jump from like one thing to the next. And at one point I was walking on a boardwalk and I saw Mariska Hargitay and I really wanted to talk to her about Law and Order SVU, but she kind of like blew me off. And then I followed her a little bit and then Bill O'Reilly was there sitting at a picnic table with her and he chased me off. And
as he does.
There was another scene where my Lithuanian grandmother was there. It's very weird. I'm talking about both my Lithuanian grandparents. But the point of this is that there was another scene where I was in, I think what appeared to be maybe a dorm or something, because there were a lot of small like rooms. They just looked like dorm rooms. And I was with Dave and we were looking for a place to have sex with each other. And we were going in and out of rooms looking for an empty one. And we found one and we went in there and then I took off my shirt and then I took off my bra and then Dave went, oh no.
Damn it.
And he came in his pants and that was that was like the whole scene. And then it went on to something else. And,
The ejaculation habits of Dream Dave do not necessarily reflect those of the real life Dave. Any similarities to persons living or dead are completely coincidental.
Exactly. And then I woke up and Ben was like, asked me like, how did you sleep? And I was like, boy, did I have the weirdest fucking dreams. I can't even explain. So there you go, Dave. You've worked your way into my subconscious. Nice. I have no idea why my subconscious thinks that you would premature ejaculate if you saw my boobs.
I'm honored and mortified.
Well, there you go.
It was very, very awkward to go back to this flashback after that story. But, if anything, he's going to pull us back. So Jack arrives home and can hear Kate on the phone in the kitchen. She says, I'll just have the nanny stay for an extra couple hours. Jack's never home before 8 anyway. I could stay for at least an hour.
What?
She hears Jack's keys jingle and tells the person on the phone that he's home and she has to go. He walks in and Kate gets herself a glass of water from the fridge as Jack says, "Sorry, I thought you'd be in bed." Who is that? Kate seems like she's gassy here. Does anybody see that? She's like grabbing her stomach.
Really? I did not.
I think it's either this scene or the next scene. I can't remember, but I just thought it was funny. She like puts her hand on her stomach for like a notable amount of time, and that's.
I think it was the next scene.
It is the next scene.
Yeah,
you noticed
right.
it too?
The same thing.
But I was thinking she's like, her stomach's like she's holding it apart.
She had Taco Bell
because they're still at that point of their relationship
where you don't fart. Yeah, we know all about that.
Yeah, where you pretend. Oh, yeah. Refer to your Marriage podcast.
Yeah, listen to episode 1 of Marriage, and you can find out what happened when I tried to pretend like I didn't fart.
Someone took a shit in the alleyway.
Yes, that's true.
That was, yeah.
So, Jack asks who was on the phone. Kate says it was Noreen. Shout out to that name. That's my dad's wife's name.
Is it?
One of the moms from the park. Jack seems unsure about Noreen since Kate had never mentioned her before. Kate brushes it off and kisses him on the lips. She says, "I'll see you upstairs," and heads for bed.
Mm-hmm.
Jack, I've obviously got something on the mind here, Lacey, because the script says Jack fishes into his jacket, but I was going to say Jack
finishes
into his jacket.
We talked about rubbing one off.
Lacey took her bra off, and Jack finishes into his jacket.
Jack fishes into his jacket pocket and extracts his clonazepam prescription. Dropping his keys on the counter, he grabs 2 pills and opens the colorfully decorated fridge. Jack grabs a bottle of beer, which he chugs while he takes his benzos. And this was the moment I was like, okay, now it's coming together. Like he's becoming
disheveled Jack.
Just disheveled, yeah.
I have Ativan, which is in the same family. That's the brand name. I can't remember what it's something Pam for emergencies, like emotional emergencies. But like, you don't take them with beer. That's not good. That's a bad sign when you're chugging benzos with beer, and you're a doctor, for fuck's sake. But I guess we see where it goes,
to wash them down. Come on.
Sure. We see. I mean, eventually he's like a pain pill addict or whatever.
Yep.
So we're back on the island. Crickets chirp, and the campfire crackles in the jungle. Miles is fast asleep. Sawyer snores. Claire stirs awake to find Aaron is gone. She looks up to see a man rocking the baby in his arms. Claire gasps and says, "Dad?"
What?
All the dads here.
The fuck?
Christian doing his fucking world tour.
Yeah, a lot of dad relationships in this show. Actually, same goes for Ted Lasso. Half that show is about people's relationships with their fathers.
Yeah, there's a lot of dad trauma in the world.
Yeah.
At the beach, the surf is rolling in the distance, and Kate is worried about Jack. Bernard comes up to tell her that it went well, and Juliet says Kate can go back in if she wants. A sniffling Kate thanks Bernard for telling her. In the tent, Juliet is suturing Jack's wound. She tells Kate that Jack didn't lose much blood. The appendix is out, and he's going to be fine with some rest.
Good luck. If you notice, nobody was wearing masks during that surgery, so
No.
there's a very good chance he's going to die of infection now.
Yeah. They could have tied anything around their face or pull your shirt up anything to keep your spittle. Yeah. From entering his body.
Don't work. Fake news.
Oh, well, there's that too.
Well, you took the words out of Kate's mouth, Ben, because Kate says, "Good luck with that." They both smile at that. Juliet apologizes for yelling and then says, "He kissed me."
Huh?
And Kate is confused. So Juliet says, "It was nice, but it wasn't for me. It was for him. I'm pretty sure he was trying to prove something." They stare at each other for a moment, and then Kate says, "Thank you, Juliet. Thank you for saving his life." Kate leaves, and Juliet looks to Jack and says, "I know you're awake." Jack opens his eyes.
I think what she also says is that she was trying to hear that Jack was trying to prove something and that he doesn't love someone else. So she's basically saying, like, I know he's in love with you, Kate. And I guess this answers the question. We had a little debate about whether or not Jack had fucked Juliet earlier, but I guess this sort of answers it that it doesn't appear that way. Like, he just kissed her randomly. And we were thinking, oh, maybe he kissed her like that was the show of what had been going on in private. But no, I guess that's not the case.
Well, Juliet has one thing over Kate here, which is that she's had her fingers inside him.
It's true. That's true.
I don't know. Kate might have snuck a pinky in there once or twice. Jack's a doctor. He knows exactly where his prostate is.
Flash forward number 5. Jack is sitting on the couch, twiddling a ring, when Kate arrives home. Kate is surprised he's there, and he tells her he sent Veronica home early. I think this is where she looks a little gassy. Kate sits down when Jack tells her that the baby is asleep. He picks up his drink and says, "Why was she here? The nanny. She only works till 4. I came home at 6. Kate says she had to run some errands and wants to know why Jack is home early. He tells her that he went to see Hurley last Friday. She wonders why he didn't tell her, because she would have gone with him. He laughs and says, "Because he's crazy, Kate, and I didn't want to upset you." Where were you today? Kate gets up and kneels before him, saying, "I'm going to ask you to trust me. Trust me. Just leave it be." Jack says no.
Yeah, right. Like, have you met him?
Yeah.
Come on.
Jack says, "No, I heard you on the phone last night. Who were you talking to?" She tells him it doesn't matter where she was or who she was talking with. Jack is now screaming at her to tell him, and finally Kate blurts out, I was doing something for him, for Sawyer.
Huh?
I made him a promise.
Huh?
Jack wants to know what the promise was, but Kate says it has nothing to do with them. Jack yells, then why won't you tell me? Kate, with tears in her eyes, says, because he wouldn't want me to. Jack is pissed and says, but he's not here, is he? No, he made his choice. He chose to stay. I'm the one who came back. I'm the one who's here. I'm the one who saved you.
Oh, my.
Kate tells him that if he's got problems, he needs to figure them out because she can't have him around her son like this. Jack screams, your son?
Oh.
You're not even related to him.
Stop. Did anyone else think that when he said that, it sort of sounded more like you're not even related to him? Like,
Like, does he know that he's?
Well, yeah, that's what I was wondering.
I don't think that
he
he.
never found that out, right?
No.
So it's got to be just the writers like fucking with people.
I don't know.
Maybe he
Stay
figures it
tuned.
out later.
Stay tuned for the exciting finale of season 4.
Kate gasps at both what Jack said and what Lacey just said. Both of them turn to the hallway. Aaron has awoken and is standing there holding a stuffed whale. Kate walks over to comfort him. She looks at Jack with tears in her eyes. He looks at her and Aaron and then walks away.
Damn.
This
job,
this is an emotional roller coaster, this episode, because this, like I said earlier, I thought it was very romantic and very hot, and their love seemed very genuine. And this is truly dark. This scene,
Yeah.
this is like a dark couples fight.
Yeah, this is pretty destructive. And also, like, I am a human being who grew up in an environment where I may have been, I'll say Aaron for Dave's sake, Aaron's age, and witnessing my parents like screaming at each other and stuff. And that,
sister.
yeah, that's traumatic shit. And especially, like, I would hope, I mean, I was the kid in that situation, but I would hope if I was a parent and I realized that my kids saw me like absolutely losing control, that I would be thoroughly embarrassed and shamed.
I mean,
full of
Jack
shame
walks
for that.
out, so I know it's mostly out of anger, but maybe there's something
Yeah.
in there that was like, I just need to not let the kids see me like this. I don't know.
Well, he spends most of this episode, right, like trying to convince himself or to allow himself to believe that he could be a good father and be something other than his father. And then he snaps like this in front of the kid. And so he's got to be like, oh, okay, maybe I can't.
I think he was probably just headed to the pharmacy, to be honest.
Headed to the pharmacy. He's like, maybe I wouldn't be yelling if I had some more hydrocodone.
But yeah, Jack's all drunk and zanned out and everything. Like it's So we're back on the island, and it's the morning of day 99. Miles is tending to the fire when Sawyer wakes up and asks where Claire is. Miles tells him that she walked off into the jungle in the middle of the night. Sawyer says, you let her go alone? Miles says she wasn't alone. She was with a man she called Dad.
Oh, Miles
Sawyer.
season 2. Go ahead, Christy. What?
There's more casual racism as Sawyer wakes up and
That's
says,
right.
"It's too early for Chinese."
Way too early for
Oh,
Chinese.
Oh, God, you're right.
Chinese.
Oh, Jesus
yeah.
Christ,
Yep.
Sawyer. Oof.
So Miles tells Sawyer that he would have followed him, but he's got a restraining order.
I
in
love
a classic
that.
display of fucking
Yeah.
malicious compliance.
Love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, he does get him there. Yeah,
Because I'm not a Miles
Yeah.
fan right now, but I liked that.
I thought it
Yeah.
was a good Miles moment, honestly.
I
It
would.
was good.
Yeah, I'll give that to Miles for sure.
And to add insult to injury, Miles chuckles to himself, so self-satisfied, fucking
No.
just shit-eating. And just as Sawyer grabs him. But before Sawyer can give him the beatdown, Aaron can be heard crying in the distance.
Huh?
Sawyer takes off, running toward the cries, screaming, Claire! Claire!
My baby.
Sawyer
Walt!
finds Aaron. Sawyer finds Aaron balanced on a large plant on the base of a tree.
Really?
Aaron is crying, and Sawyer picks him up and tells him it's going to be okay. Aaron cries louder, and the episode closes with Sawyer screaming, Claire! Claire! Lost. End of
That's
episode.
intense. That's
Yeah.
intense.
Wow.
Yeah.
one.
He left her
Christian,
baby.
Christians everywhere in this episode. Is everybody ready for some fun facts?
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Today, I've got fun facts about chloroform. Ooh. Chloroform is a clear, colorless, sweet liquid that is denser than water and non-flammable. It's known to be one of the intermediate substances that arise during the production of, are you ready for this? Polytetrafluoroethylene, which is commonly known as Teflon.
Oh.
So
What's
sniff
it
your
called?
pots and pans. And
Teflon.
You can Teflon?
Say it one more time.
Teflon, T-E-F.
No, the big word.
the big word? Polytetrafluoroethylene.
Is that tetrafluoroethylene that sleeps with other people?
Ah.
Sorry,
Apparently
I'm so
it
sorry.
is. Yes, it is
So
poly.
sorry, you gotta
yes.
know your audience, you know?
You got it. All right. French chemist named Eugene Soberian is considered the first person to have produced chloroform in 1831. He used acetone and ethanol in the reaction, which was made possible by using bleach powder. Why he was doing this, I'm not sure. Chloroform was first named and characterized chemically by Jean-Baptiste Dumas in 1834 and began to be known to the public in 1853 when Jon Snow, not the one from Game of Thrones,
Not that one.
an English physician, gave it to Queen Victoria while she was giving birth to her 8th child, Prince Leopold.
I think the name
great-
is Dumas as well, not Dumas.
You're right. I read it like a person who
Dumbass.
doesn't speak
Like
French.
a dumbass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I read it like a dumbass. Jean-Baptiste Dumas.
There's a great book that that Jon Snow was instrumental in like finding the source of
Cholera.
the cholera. Yeah,
He took
in
off the
London.
pump
And-
handle of the water well. and
Yeah,
stopped
yeah,
it.
exactly. So I read a book about
Kinda
it. It's called
Advanced the Germ Theory of Disease.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Oh,
a really, really good
nice.
book.
Yeah, it's really
He's like-
cool.
hold on a sec. Let me get the title of this book because I think you guys would like it. And maybe
That's
your
fine. I'll
listeners
keep
as well.
going. You can hop in when
It's
you find
called,
it.
It's called. I got
Oh.
it. It's called The Ghost Map: The Terrifying
Oh.
Story of London's. The story of London's most terrifying epidemic and how it changed science, cities, and the modern world by Stephen Johnson.
Wow.
Really good
Most
book.
frightening. Cholera was worse than the plague?
Yeah, plague was in and out after the 1300s, but cholera has been consistent, still goes
ravaged.
on in other parts of the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ravaged
Just
that
because you're
city.
drinking water with shit in it.
Mhm.
Yep.
Basically, yep. All right.
Well, in
So,
this go ahead.
no, you go.
Now, say in this instance, they didn't have plumbing, so the water would just go into their basement called a cesspit, and it leaked into the water supply.
Right.
Mm.
Oof. God.
Yeah.
Okay. So, when oxidation of chloroform occurs, it produces hydrochloric acid and phosgene, the latter
Ooh.
of which was used as a poison gas during World War I.
Yeah.
Since around 1847, ether has been replaced by chloroform as an anesthetic during the process of surgery or childbirth. The use of chloroform as an anesthetic does not exist anymore due to the respiratory and heart problems that can occur, which is funny because every anesthetic causes respiratory and heart problems. That's why
That's why it's
very close-
anesthetic.
yeah, you come very close to dying when you are under anesthetic. But this one must be worse than something like propofol, which is what the standard is today. Anyways, there was a time when chloroform was present in products such as cough syrup, toothpaste, ointments, and so on. However, its presence in consumer products has been banned since 1976 in the United States. Chloroform is also used as a solvent for several organic compounds used in industrial processes and basic research, and it can help extract alkaloids from plants such as poppies. So now we all know how to make homemade
Opium.
morphine
Nice.
or opium or heroin. It's all from the same plant.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's fun facts on chloroform. What do you think?
Nice.
Yeah, I need to give me
Awesome.
some of that.
Certainly were fun.
Yeah. You want it? You know what? This is really funny too. Like the grandfather who thought that he could have lidocaine for his heart surgery, one of his favorite things to do was he used to keep canned poppy seeds and he would eat the can like with a spoon. And he told us that back in the old country, as he called it, meaning Lithuania, that they used to have fields of poppies, and that as like someone in his youth, they used to get him, and he would say, and then we grind them, and we grind them, and we get to the powder, and it's good stuff. And he would tell us that as kids. And at some point, myself and my siblings and my cousins realized that maybe my grandfather was making heroin. I don't know. But he ate poppy seeds by the spoon, so I guess he was getting some kind of buzz. All right. Best and worst moments. Let's start with our guest, Dave.
Ooh,
what do you think?
Yeah, okay. So my best moment, honorable mention, I guess, goes to the Christian Shepherd in the hospital scene that I sort of gushed about earlier because I thought that was really great. But honestly, my best moment was Juliet's stomach shaving joke. It made me laugh out loud along with the two of them. So
it did.
I thought that was great.
I had worst moments. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, my worst moment was Faraday like very awkwardly insisting on going first for Charlotte into the, because like it's not even like I thought it was well acted and everything. Like I said, he plays neurodivergent very well, but I don't like Charlotte, so I didn't like him being nice to her.
Well, fuck Rocky Dennis. All right.
Yes, Rocky Dennis.
I had in my best moment. I had my honorable mention, I suppose you could say, was Jin, just like being a boss with Charlotte. Loved it. But my best moment was also a quote, and it is, just watch your tone, Red. I just fucking loved it. Like, we rag on Rose a lot, but that moment, I think she was great. What do you think, Ben?
What about your worst moment?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. It was, I had written, thanks, Derek, by the way, the cutting of the skin when she was cutting it and he was awake and it was too much for me. I couldn't handle that. Like, just no.
You know, like watching surgeries?
Well, I've seen many surgeries. I've seen many cuts and closures, but it was something about, I think I was imagining myself being awake and seeing my own body cut like that. And that gave me the willies. Yeah.
Lacey, that's twice in a row you've forgotten the worst moment. I think you're drunk and you're like, no negativity today.
Good vibes. Good vibes only. Ben, what were your best and worst?
My favorite moment was Jin telling Rocky Dennis that he knows that she understands him and that he's going to break Daniel's fingers. I thought that was very boss, and I like to see Jin being decisive and kind of, he's looking out for his wife, and he's really trying to do the best for her. And he's like, if I gotta threaten this shit, I'll threaten it.
Yeah.
Least favorite was every single thing Jack did in this episode.
Wow. Whoa. All right. Derek, what about you?
My best moment was the same as Ben's, Jin calling out Charlotte and, saying, you're going to get my wife and unborn child in that helicopter or else. And my worst moment was just Jack acting an ass at the end there when he was drunk and zannied up and just accusing Kate and, yelling that Aaron isn't even her son. And
Well, it's got echoes of him with his ex-wife, right?
Exactly. That's the first thing I thought.
Jealousy
I was like,
repeating patterns.
Yep.
Yeah, just sort of like, wow, you spent 100 days on that island and seems like you learned nothing.
Nope.
Yeah. Christy, what do you think?
For me, the best moment was Juliet and Kate's conversation in the tent after the surgery.
Good.
I thought it was just a really, really sweet moment between the two of them.
Agreed.
Because they were intense for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my worst moment, I just wrote Jack in the flash forwards because he's just such a fucking tool.
Yeah, it's disappointing, isn't it? Because it does feel like we've seen this before, but they were in flashbacks. Like, what have you been doing, Jack? Like, how have you not changed?
He has not grown at all as a person.
Yeah, Dave was right. No. Whenever he was lovey-dovey, it just didn't seem right.
You think? No, Dave thought it was sweet. It was Ben that said he didn't think it was right.
Yeah, but I think that was Ben agreeing in a roundabout way that it is just weird to see Jack happy because
we knew it wouldn't last. We knew it wouldn't last.
I want to drop from Mike.
He's just an angry narcissist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, we have made it to the power rankings. And here's what we're going to do. We promised Ada that his power rankings would count. So I am going to leave them in the spreadsheet, and I'm going to read them to you before the rest of us get into it. But
presented with no context.
Yeah. So here's the best part is that when he texts these to me, he said his top three that that it was going to take some explanation, and now he's
His
not
bottom
here.
3, we're going to take some explanation.
So no, he said the top 3. The bottom 3, I think, are obvious. So for the bottom 3, what he wanted in there, he told me Kate, Annie, and Catherine Dodd. And Annie and Catherine Dodd are both aliases that Kate used. So he's really mad at Kate. So
very good.
she had she had the bottom 3 slots. But
I don't understand why he was mad at Kate in this episode. I don't think she was particularly offensive.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess maybe that needed explanation too. But so his best character, he did have Miles. So Miles got some love. And second best, I'm supposed to go bottom to the top. I'm going the other way, but you'll see why when I get there. Lapidus was his second best. And then for some crazy fucking reason, in third best, he has Kimi. And I don't know why. I don't know why.
Gotta be just his menacing presence or something, right?
I don't know if it's sabotage. Maybe he's got a crush on him. I don't know. But whenever Ado can figure out how to get better internet, we'll figure it out. Or actually, he said it was the group, I think, that was throwing his internet off. So, Dave, if you and he get together and do a little Lost the Plot episode, could you please ask him to explain his rankings? We'll send everybody over there.
He has
obviously,
a lot to answer for.
Ado's not into the whole group thing.
Oh, okay. So he is fucking Claire, and he is killing Rocky Dennis. Although he didn't know about Rocky Dennis, he just said Charlotte. All right. What about you, Derek? What do you think of this episode?
Best?
No,
sorry.
Rankings.
Yeah,
rankings, babe.
That's what I said. Oh, I mean the characters. For fuck's sake. Start at the bottom, please.
Yep. So my third worst is Rocky Dennis. Second worst is Kimi because he's a piece of shit. I don't love him, like Ado does. And first worst was Jack because just the way he treated Kate. Well, pretty much the whole episode, he was just a tool. Yeah. And the third best is Sawyer because he kind of acted like, or he was Claire's big brother, taking care of her. Second was Jin. Because, he told Charlotte that she'll get sun on the helicopter. And then my first was Juliet. I just liked her in the episode. She fixed Jack up, took out his appendix, and the little talk she had with Kate.
Yeah. She was a pretty badass in this episode.
I'm going to fuck Kate, and I'm going to kill Kimi.
All right. Christy, what's yours look like?
So on the bottom, I only have 2. Kimi, just for being Kimi. And then the absolute worst is Jack for being a controlling, drunk, narcissistic asshole. For my top 3, bottom of the top, Jin for catching that tiny little split-second half smile that Charlotte had. Sawyer for doing his best to protect Claire, and Juliet for taking care of Jack's appendix situation and being so kind with Kate.
Yeah. Fucking kill?
Oh, I'm going to fuck Juliet and Kate, and I'm going to kill Kimi.
Nice. Our rankings are almost identical. There's only one difference.
Wow.
I also only have 2 in the bottom, and it is Kimi, and it is Jack. And on my top, I have Jin in third, Sawyer in second, Juliet in first, exactly like Christy. I also am killing Kimi, exactly like Christy. Our only difference is the fuck. Instead of having a threesome with the ladies, which I wouldn't mind, I'm going to be fucking Jin while he talks rough to me.
Little gin and juice, huh?
Are you threatening to break your fingers?
Exactly. Dave, what about you?
Okay, so I'm not splitting the atom with my bottom 3 characters. I think we're all pretty consistent with these. So number 3 is Kimi. Honestly, I didn't know we could just do 2. I didn't think he was particularly offensive this episode. I just really needed a 3. But
yeah, I hate his face. Sucks. That's why I put him in there.
Number 2 is Charlotte. I'm glad she got a bitch check from Daniel, but Jesus Christ, she is abrasive and really not making things easy for herself or anyone else.
Yeah.
And then number 1 is Jack because, like you guys said, he doesn't grow. He doesn't learn anything. He's just a toxic dude. He's dealing with everything the wrong way. Like he's like a how-to book for how not to process emotions. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So my top three, number three is Jin, just because like Christy said, he was on the ball, catching the little smile, and just real powers of deduction this episode, and like pretty badass when he's threatening Charlotte, and none of us like Charlotte, so always gets points.
I still
number
fuck
two
her
is-
though, even with the forehead.
Number two was I have Juliet, again similar to what Christy said, like her best moment. I thought that her conversation with Kate was like, you guys know when characters, I love when characters display like emotional maturity, and I thought that was
Right.
I mean, she did kind of have her fun at first, where you could tell she was kind of trying to fuck with Kate a little bit when she said Jack kissed me,
And she knew
But
Jack
then-
was awake, so she was a little
Yeah.
bit fucking with him too,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
I think is fine in that situation.
Mhm.
Though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She got her last little bit of enjoyment before sort of giving him over, like giving
Right.
up on him.
Right.
And yeah, I just thought that was really sweet and really like mature of her. Complete contrast to the way Jack acted the entire episode.
Yep.
Agreed.
Uh,
And it's good for her. Her love story is still to come. Stay tuned for season 5.
Oh, that's a good one as well. It's a good one.
It's a great one.
And number one is my traditional and orthodox pick. I'm going for Dr. Erica, who is the
Oh.
person who writes Jack a script, because you just like how great is it to have a homie that will just write you a script whenever you want for anything,
Like,
and
it's
we'll see you going literally insane at 2:00 in the morning in a doctor's office and just not even ask you about it. Just go, you do you,
There you
dude.
go.
You know,
Yeah.
like maybe
I'll
offer
see a
you a
therapist.
gentle prodding to see a therapist, but
Yeah.
like you're like. You know, everybody heals at their own pace. So Dr. Erica's a G. Shout out to her.
That's brilliant. All right, your fucking kill.
Yeah, so I'm gonna fuck Lapidus for no other reason than he's Lapidus, and he's just awesome.
Lapidus!
Yeah,
All right.
I'm gonna kill Christian Shepherd because damn it, he should be dead. Stop walking around the
Yeah,
place.
he keeps showing up everywhere.
Ah, that's hilarious. All
Can you
right,
kill that which has already died?
Ben, what do you got?
Yeah, I don't have a third worst. Second worst, I've got Kimi, Mr. Date Rape himself. And then worst, Jack, like you said, I mean, he's basically an emotional he's a character development flatline. He's just a poster child for like toxic masculinity. And
Yeah.
more and more, I watch the show and I'm like, how was he was supposed to be the hero. Like when I first watched the show, I thought of him as the hero. Now when I watch it, I think he's just a very, very sad man.
Yeah, I always
Yep.
think about that. How like you never see heroes like this anymore. Until
No.
like Jack is very of the era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I've
Yeah.
changed my stance on a lot of the characters since the first time I watched it years ago.
Ben
Too.
Linus.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
No.
Ben Linus. Agreed. I mean, when I watched this in my 20s, I wanted to be with Jack and I wanted to be Kate. And now, as I watch them back, I'm like, yikes.
Yikes.
I guess
Yeah.
that's what happens when you're in your 20s, is that you don't actually pay attention to the fact that these people are completely self-absorbed and absolutely ridiculous. Because,
Right.
that's who you are in your 20s, as you should
Yeah.
be. But yeah, in hindsight, I'm like, wow, how did I not see how awful these people are?
So on the podium, I've got let's see, bronze medal for Miles. I just enjoyed
More
his.
Miles love.
He wasn't in this a whole lot, but he was good when he was. His sort of
True.
Dave pointed out several moments where his sort of caustic wit sort of comes through, and it was kind of
True.
needed.
Oh,
'Cause
Miles
this was a bit of
might make
this was
it
a heavy
out of the-
episode.
It is. Miles might make it out of the bottom 3 this week.
Yeah.
He's been there for a while.
My silver, I've got Jin. He's a boss. He's taking care of his wife. He's taking care of business. He's not, not taking any fucking prisoners. And then in the top spot, I've got Juliet for all the reasons she is what Jack should be, basically.
Ooh.
Like,
Okay.
she's that character that is actually, she's a doctor and she actually does seem to care about other people, not just use the guise of caring about other people to act like a fucking asshole, which is what Jack's main thing seems to be.
That's a wonderful way of putting it, like contrasting them. And it maybe is why they could never work as a couple as well.
Yeah.
Like she's
but
got
also,
Right.
she's obstetrics, so she's more into like helping women and babies.
Yeah.
And he's
True.
a neurosurgeon or a spinal surgeon, and they are notoriously arrogant and,
That's true.
narcissistic.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah,
Interesting.
that
God
is
complex
a
kind of
typical
situation.
sort of surgeon kind of mindset. Even in
Apologies to any
veterinary
spinal
medicine.
surgeons that may be listening.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
There
Even
are
in
none
veterinary-
now.
I remember what you told us about. Oh, I'll show you narcissistic.
Yeah. What if someone's
Cut a
listening to
nerve.
this while they perform surgery and
Yeah.
they killed a person out of
Oh,
Or
no.
cut a nerve or two.
Even veterinary surgeons have that reputation as well.
You're never gonna walk again. Take it up with Lost in My 40s.
Yep, your name is Locke.
Oh,
Call
damn.
yourself John Locke.
So,
You're
I'm
fucking
going to-
kill Benjamin.
yeah, I'm going to fuck Kate and I am going to kill Rocky Dennis.
Bye. Could you update us
Bye.
now, babe? Where's the where are we in the rankings after this episode?
Yeah, in the rankings, we've got some movement here. You were right that Miles did fall out of the bottom three. So we have a very particular setting going on here. So we have a 3-way tie in third from the bottom with Charlotte Lewis, Dr. Ray, and Dr. Bitchface Harper.
Harper.
Second from the bottom is Jack. So I want to point out that the 4 bottom-most characters are all doctors.
Or doctors.
Yeah, interesting.
There must be anti-vaxxers. That's why we have them.
Yeah.
Fuck the medical profession, apparently.
So
And gosh, who's possibly the number one worst?
yeah, it would be
character?
Kimi. Somehow he had about 3 seconds of screen time and he lost 21 points from that.
Not even Ado could save him.
Not
Yeah.
even. And this is
It's
amazing.
the
I'm
whole
looking at the
walking
spreadsheet.
chlamydia thing,
There you go. I'm looking at the spreadsheet. So the 3-way tie at the bottom is negative 24 points. Jack is negative 32 points, and Kimi's negative 126.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
And I bet it
He's
won't
gone
get any
off a
better.
cliff.
So at the
And in the
top
top.
of the standings, we have we have a new first place. So what happens here is
It's got to be Juliet
Hurley
then. Huh?
Hurley falls from second place to third place, staying at 54 points. Then Linus drops out of first place into second place with 59 points, and
is
Juliet
Juliet.
hurdles both of them into first place with 71 points.
Taking it back for the doctors.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
right.
the doctor on
So
top
we got
too. Isn't
we
that
got
something?
doctors on both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow,
That's
I
funny.
got doctors on both ends. It's hot.
Interesting.
I like it. Okay. Well, all we got left is final impressions. Why don't we start with Christy?
I thought it was a really fun episode. More questions, of course, less things answered than the questions that come up. Yeah, the whole thing with Jack, he's never going to grow. He just is what he is. But I like seeing the character development with, Sawyer becoming, a nicer guy, basically. Yeah, I know. It was a fun episode. I liked it a lot.
Ben, what do you think?
Let's see. To me, this was sort of a meh episode. There were aspects of it that I did enjoy, but I think it's one of those things where I feel like most of it is soured by the fact that it was focused on Jack, who was supposed to be the hero, and I don't find myself rooting for him in any way, shape, or form. So it's really difficult for me to find the sort of motivation to think that this is a great episode. To me, it's just sort of a multifaceted showcase of macho obstinance and stupidity and emotional immaturity. At this point, I almost kind of wish that he had just died in surgery and we could get on this show without Jack.
Wow.
Damn.
Woo.
Yeah.
All right. It's funny that you said meh, because I had the same word written down. I said it was like a mostly okay episode. There were a lot of boss sort of moves by individual characters that I really liked. But as far as the story, I also ended up sort of in the meh category. I wasn't super excited at the end of the episode, I guess. The highlight, though, for me is Christian Shepherd kind of being everywhere. And the fact that Claire is now, not only Claire, but Claire and Miles are now seeing him on the island. And so to me, that was like a nice little nugget in an otherwise, it's a kind of a Jack annoying sort of episode. But there are these little like bits that catch my attention and go like, wait a second, like, where is this going exactly? So I did feel that way about the episode. And I really did. I loved just seeing Jin and Juliet being boss was actually kind of awesome. So yeah, that's where I am on that episode. I know like this is episode 10. There's only 14 in the season. So knowing the show by now, we're in that sort of lull period as everything kind of comes together before you get those finale episodes that like rock your world. So I would expect an episode at this position in the season to be a like some good stuff, but also we're building up to what is going to happen at the end of the season. So that's kind of what I think about that. Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was a good episode. I thought when I finished it, I was like, decent episode. And I think discussing it, on this episode, Lost My 40s, I think I'd like it more. I like it, some of the stuff is solidified for me. I think like
I've had that happen too. After we discuss it, my opinion changes a little. Yeah.
I think it did. Like it did move the plot forward. Certainly the flash forwards are coming together more and more. You see, like, or even on the island, like Sawyer has Claire's gone and Sawyer has Aaron now, right? So like Claire is probably not coming back if Aaron ends up with Kate, right? I mean, I don't want to say for sure, but yeah. I mean, I hope that's not a spoiler, right? But you can see that's like they're at least telling you like, oh, okay, Claire's out of the picture. Maybe this is how this begins to happen, right?
Right.
I liked. So the interesting thing about Jack is that we talked about how he's like an outdated sort of hero, and the funny thing is that Jack hasn't changed, obviously, because they didn't go back and edit the show. It's just our societal attitudes towards that have changed, and like I think it's I still think Jack is a compelling character. He's not one that I agree with Ben that I don't exactly root for him, but he is like you don't want your characters to be these shining beacons of light all the time. That's boring, right? Like you want complex characters. I think that there is a lack of growth with Jack, which is frustrating. And we could, like, if Derek wasn't here, we could debate whether he does change by the very end of the show or not. We don't need to get into that now. But it is. We'll
have you back, Dave. I haven't even told you this yet, but I'm hoping you'll come back for the end of podcast discussion after season 6.
I would love that. I would be honored. Yeah, because there's a lot to talk about.
Lots to talk about.
That could be like a 5-hour episode.
Oh,
right.
But yeah, I mean, I thought everything with Jack was like interesting, even if it was frustrating. Like he dropped from high to low. He dropped from like the believable romance with Kate to like a really dark place. Hurtling towards this sort of disheveled Jack as Derek
he goes there so easily.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's
Two
the
meals
thing
and
about
a beer, and he was done.
But it's almost believable because it's like Jack is so on edge and so like not in control of his emotions that he can just kind of fuck up his life at the drop of a hat, right? Like he doesn't have enough of an emotional constitution or like you know what I mean.
That's the problem with holding everything in. Is that eventually it spills out and then you do something dramatic that you probably wouldn't otherwise do. Yeah.
Yeah. My final note is that I know if Ado was here, he might argue that the appendix thing, I'm not saying he would have a negative opinion of it, but I think he would argue that it was like manufactured drama because it kind of just arose from nowhere, like Jack having appendicitis. That was literally just a one episode problem, but it still worked for me. I thought it was
I think he had a little bit of a tummy ache in the previous episode. Yeah. And he was kind of holding his stomach, but
it raised the stakes appropriately for the episode, even though I'm not sure like it was ever in doubt that it would go badly,
Right.
But it was fine. It worked for me. So yeah,
It feels like it was more of a vehicle to expose his absolute need for control.
Yeah.
Not that it hadn't been exposed before, but I guess reconfirm his absolute need for control.
And also to sort of close the chapter on the love triangle between him, Kate, and Juliet.
Yeah, put him in that situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, good episode overall.
All right. Derek, what'd you think? And what kind of questions did this bring for you?
I thought it was a good episode. My opinion of Jack is declining over the seasons. In the beginning, first he's like, man, he's the hero, he's the savior, he's gonna, solve all the problems. Now he's just an asshole. But
It's interesting to watch the juxtaposition between the characters who, after, these 4 seasons or 3.5 at this point, almost 4, that have remained almost emotionally the same, like Jack. But then you look at a character like Sawyer, who's just done just this incredible amount of emotional growth. And so it's interesting to watch, like, which characters are stagnant and which, like, step up to the plate. And I agree, like, Jack tends to fail.
And and so like Sawyer, he's come around a lot since the beginning, being the con man. He's taking care of Claire and the baby. And Jin found a way to get son and their unborn child off the island. Yeah. And again, Sawyer protected Claire until she disappeared, which leads to first question is, where did Claire go, especially without her baby? Mm-hmm. And what is it with Christian Shepherd appearing everywhere now? And what is the thing that Kate is doing for Sawyer that pissed Jack off so much?
Anal.
Woo-wee. Derek, those are good questions, and I have great fucking news for you. One of those will be answered by the end of this season. We're going to get it in the season finale, but a couple are going to be answered next fucking week. And we've got Lost Season 4, Episode 11. It's called Cabin Fever. It's a Locke episode. It's a Christy episode. We get to see Locke grow up. And Dr. Richard Alpert is back. Hey, Dave, thank you again for coming.
An honor as always. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Thank you, Dave.
It's been fantastic.
Always a pleasure to have you here.
We will
to be here.
Definitely have you back in seasons 5 and 6.
Yeah. I think last time I said I'll see you in season 5, and then I elbowed my way in here again. But I really did think this would be my last season 4 episode. But thank you guys for having me. It's been a wonderful, with Lost the Plot on the back burner a little bit. It's been a wonderful outlet to talk about this great show, and I couldn't have done it with better people. So thank you.
And we love having you. And I needed some more of that Jack impression, because it hit me like a freight train in episode 4. Even when I listened back to editing it, I was just laughing so fucking hard.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to Lost in My 40s.
All right, guys. Next week, season 4, episode 11, Cabin Fever. It's Locke. It's Christy. We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye, folks.
Bye.
Lost in My 40s is a Spacebear media production. Executive produced and edited by me, Lacey J. Sound engineering, editing, and original music by Benjamin Trimp. Like and follow Lost in My 40s on Facebook and Spacebear_media on Instagram and Threads. Plus, follow Spacebear Media on YouTube for extra video content. Or for everything in one place, go to spacebearmedia.com.